There is probably no one more successful in the world of sport working dog competitors and dog trainers in general than Ivan Balabanov, who recently platformed the Dog Daddy, possibly one of the most controversial dog trainers in the dog training world, which says a lot, on his platform recently. And many of you are asking why. Why would Ivan platform a loser like that? Well, there's a marketing lesson in this, and I wanted to share it with you, so stick with me. But first, a word from our sponsor, this guy. You know, if you want to get 30 to 70% more leads from the same traffic that you're sending to your website, you should be using our Done For You dog training business website. It's proven and tested to convert more traffic than pretty much anything else out there. Our client in South Florida went from 1 lead a week to 5 to 7 leads per day, sending the same amount of traffic to his website. The best part is we do it pretty much all for you. You send us a picture, 3 testimonials, and a brief description of your services, and we take care of the rest. You can learn more by subscribing to the Dog Trainer Marketing newsletter at dogtrainertoolbox.com. You'll be redirected to a page where you can read all about our Done For You dog training business website. Now, back to our original programming. So if you don't know who Ivan is and you're in the dog training world, you've probably been living under a rock. He is I believe, 2-time international world champion in the Schutzhund IPO ring. He's done it all, from guide dog training to working dog stuff. There's literally no one more accomplished in the dog training world, or maybe I should say very few, than Ivan. Very well respected, great teacher from everything I've heard. Seminars, information products, the whole thing. And he platforms a guy who is, by all accounts, the Ali G of dog training. The Dog Daddy, who you can look him up. In fact, you can look Ivan up if you don't know who he is. But the Dog Daddy is, I don't know if I've seen a bigger goof in the dog training world than the Dog Daddy. And that's saying a lot, because there's a lot of goofs in this industry. So what gives? Why would Ivan, a very, very incredibly well-respected dog trainer, platform a goof like the Dog Daddy? Now, in case you don't know, the Dog Daddy, tremendously successful YouTube channel, and I've heard pretty big on TikTok and Instagram, huge following, which should give you a clue as to why Ivan platformed him on Ivan's podcast. Now, if you look at just even a summary look at the Dog Daddy's YouTube channel, he has over 3 million subscribers. On some of his videos, he's had over 10 million views. And this is from basically a nobody, a guy who just figured out the algorithms, figured out how to put together a look and an image and be controversial and attract eyeballs. And in today's environment, eyeballs are the modern currency. Now, Ivan, getting back to Ivan is smart. And I don't mean like he's smart because he platformed the Dog Daddy. I mean, Ivan is just to get to the level that Ivan is in the dog world in terms of being such a winning competitor and parlaying that into successful other businesses like his seminar business and his information products and his local dog training business and all of that. He's been very, very successful, but specifically, you've got a guy who's completely dominated the dog sports. In order to be that successful, you have to be smart, you have to be cunning, you have to have certain attributes. And so, looking at what Ivan's done since he's launched his podcast, and I don't think it's been around that long, but he has consistently had controversial trainers on. Now, if you look back, he had Zach George and numerous other people. The Dog Daddy is probably the most controversial of all of them, and it should be obvious as to why. I'm going to explain it anyways because, let's be honest, some of the people watching this video are a little bit slow. So the more controversial people that Ivan has on, Ivan has grown a big following just by being a winning competitor himself and also having his podcast and growing his podcast by interviewing the right people that get eyeballs. Ivan wants to continue to grow his following because the more his following grows, the more people he can sell his information products to. That should be pretty obvious. here's the problem that I kind of have with this whole approach, and I get why he does it, but his argument doesn't quite ring true. His argument is that he wants to bring light to other approaches to dog training, so that he's not just like one channel. He can share through his podcast what other people are doing. My problem is this. You're Ivan Balabanov. You've traveled the world. You've met hundreds, probably thousands of top competitors and just dog trainers in general. You've had access to all kinds of people all kinds of dog trainers who are doing all kinds of amazing things. People that nobody's ever heard of. If your goal is to shed light on other types of training, wouldn't you want to platform people that have no following rather than people who already have a huge following? If you want to get into challenging different ideas about dog training, I would think that if that's your goal, there's probably many other people who can elucidate and elaborate their message or that approach to training better than the dog daddy. So that leads me to believe, and I mean, this really isn't a mystery. I really feel like anybody spending 5 minutes thinking about this will come to the same conclusion. Ivan platformed the dog daddy. Not that the dog daddy needs a platform, because Ivan wanted to be platformed to the dog daddy's audience. So Ivan gains more access, more eyeballs, because people see that their favorite dog trainer, in this case the dog daddy, is doing yet another interview on another dog trainer's platform. So those people all come and they say, who is this Ivan guy? Well, you should, if you're into dog training, you should know who Ivan is at this point, right? But that's the way it works. You have a huge social media influencer in the dog daddy. Ivan wants a piece of that audience. Ivan has the dog daddy on his podcast. Now, what's in it for the dog daddy? The dog daddy obviously gets access to Ivan's following. The dog daddy also gets credibility by being interviewed by a credible dog trainer. Pretty simple, right? You could do the same with your business. You can elevate your own profile by going on various other podcasts. Heck, you can go on a local podcast that's not even about dog training, just a podcast that's local to your specific area, and talk about dog training and get access to the followers or the market that podcast is marketing to. Brilliant strategy. Even more brilliant, you can create a little bit of controversy, because controversy sells. Controversy actually sells more than sex sells. If you look at the news, if you look at any newspaper, if you look at any magazine, if you look at any new school media like YouTube, the videos that get watched the most are the ones that are the most controversial, and the ones that are the most outrageous. Actually, Sam, the fellow who used to run The Hustle, did a big study. He found that there are two drivers for viral, getting your content to go viral. The first one is outrage. Somebody looks at it and says, "How could you do that?" I think Ivan's playing a little bit off that with platforming the dog daddy. And the second one is that aw factor, which, guess what? You're in the dog training business. Should be pretty easy for you to come up with the awe factor. Hey, I'm Adam Katz for DogTrainerToolbox.com and the Dog Trainer Marketing Group on Facebook. If you haven't joined yet, it's free to join. You'll be amongst over 4,600 professional dog training business owners. We can swap secret strategies, tactics, and tips and learn what's going on so that you can learn how to grow your own dog training business. I think it's time for a nap, guys. We'll talk to you soon.